We haven't launched the climbing shoes yet, so this is like first peek at that. When we launched our initial Kickstarter and initial climbing shoes, it was a lot of fun, but we didn't really know footwear at the time. We picked a lot of cool lasts that hadn't been in production by other brands and some materials we liked, but it was a lot of like OEM style. So we would bring in our Japanese team and we'd do a bunch of like research and development, but at the end of the day, like we were picking colors and styles. We weren't designing our own footwear. So when COVID hit and our factory was having a hard time and we couldn't develop, I was like, through them, I had to figure it out myself. So we went all in with development. I met Jay Jung. He's a designer for a lot of other brands in the space over the last 25 years. And he hand shaped a last for us for a year straight. We got his last done, which is on the stay and the street. And then I got an email also out of the blue from Fred Nicole in Switzerland. And he's done a lot of, larger brands, footwear and stuff too. And that was really cool. It was an honor for him to come in and say, hey, I want to help your really small brand make some of the best footwear in the world. So we've had two of the best climbing shoe designers in the world designing the footwear for us over the last 2 years, and we've really actually learned how to make climbing shoes to the degree that I think is very close or on par with a lot of the European brands. We went totally from scratch. Jay shaped lasts, Fred hand shaping lasts in Switzerland. My friend goes there, he 3D scans them. We get the scans to our office in St. Louis. We're 3D printing, we're patterning, we're opening multiple piece uppers like the European brands. All the materials are brand new. We're working in 3D programs for all the RANs, for laser etching, for molds. I asked Vibram for their help, so I sent a pitch deck to the owner of Vibram to his son, Matteo, who is in charge of product development. So I asked him for his support, and he's a climber. I found him on Instagram, and he said, we're all in, we want to help you out. So we're the only US brand using Vibram rubber, which is actually kind of a special thing. So yeah, we went all in, and it's been an incredible experience working with our team, taking our like modern look and feel and applying really interesting, I'd say like advanced technologies from the designers into the product. So yeah, we do a lot of laser etching and we do a lot of molds. We actually produce with several factories in Asia. So Fred has some friends in Asia and Jay has friends in Asia, and we were able to interview about 10 different factories and have agents on the ground looking at them. So what we found was really small production lines. We're not trying to build like the most amount of shoes quantity-wise for the world. So we found some smaller lines that make outdoor footwears, and the owners are actually, a lot of them are from Korea, actually living in China, and they're rock climbers. So as we know, climbing shoes aren't like biggest volume, so it's a passion project for the factories, just like it's a passion project for us, as it's a passion project for the designers. So it's actually been a really cool story. Even though they're made across the world, it's still art and it's still function, and it's special. Jay's models are Stay and Street. This is the last that he shaped for over a year. These shoes are built on the same last, so your Street is going to be a little bit more intermediate style, and then Stay it's super soft, super advanced. So this is one of the softest shoes we've ever made, and our testers are like, it's on par with the European brands, which is pretty cool. So Stay is going to be like your aggressive, super soft shoe. And then Street is intermediate. It has a little bit bigger of a plastic injection midsole. So this is going to be like more of your intermediate, but it's downturn for a beginner getting a little bit deeper. And then with these two shoes, this is your LV version also. So your LV Stay and your LV Street. So that covers Jay's last. Fred started here with Torque, which this is going to be like your downturn more stiff, similar maybe to like a high angle and stiffness, that kind of thing. And the testers that have been wearing this shoe are like, it's one of the best shoes I've ever worn, which was really encouraging. So yeah, this one's definitely stiffer. There's actually two midsoles in here of different materials. And then we built that next on Fred's LV last. So you can tell how much more narrow the shoe is. It's very LV. It's pretty cool. So the people who have that shape of foot, it's been helpful. We're not wanting to do like men's and women's. We're not wanting to do it that way. We're doing everything unisex like Vans. So it's, a men's 8 is / women's 9.5, and that goes across the board for every shoe. But the thing is like there's a lot of women with a wider foot. There's a lot of men with a more narrow foot. It's for everyone. It's the shape of your foot. So, yep, this is Fred's first shoe that he did called Torque, and we've been incredibly happy with it. We do a line for Jason Momoa. He's an actor in LA, and I met Jason in LA. We climbed at his house, and it was really cool because he had brands at his house from like 20 years ago. And I was like, this dude's a real climber, and we just hit it off and connected. So he had been following our brand for a long time and asked us to launch a collection of climbing equipment because he wants to introduce more people to climbing. Climbing changed his life, it changed mine, it got him to travel, it opened up opportunities for his career. So when he wanted to do a line of climbing products with us, I just thought it was so neat to be able to hit a new wave of people wanting to try our sport. We probably should have done it like a entry-level shoe because we're wanting to introduce people to climbing, but because Jason's a climber, he's like, I want the sickest, most downturn, aggressive slipper we can get. And he's like, I want it to be fast, so let's do a slipper. So we worked with Fred on the Rome shoe. So we did like a fly knit, super quick, on and off. Slippers have never fit my foot, so I wasn't the best tester, but actually when we started getting the prototypes back, the way that the shoe is tensioned different ways, not just your traditional heel tension, this is the first slipper that's ever fit my foot and has felt incredible. So I've actually been climbing in the shoe, and historically I've never been able to do that, which is pretty amazing. So we did an all pink version, and then we're gonna do an all black version as well. So pink will probably be a little bit more limited edition, and then the black one will be bigger production, more distribution, that sort of thing. So this last is a little bit different. It's a little bit more low volume than the Torque. So this one, our hope was not to have to do super low and super high, but was to get a last that would fit like almost everybody. Yeah, so this one's just a change in color. All right, so this is the next slipper Fred designed. And again, it was like hard for me to be excited about slippers because they've never fit my foot, but he did it again. So this one is going to be slightly less stiff than Rome, and it's kind of like a downturn, like old school mock. It's like slightly aggressive. So it's been really cool to actually be able to perform in a slipper because usually, my foot's weird, so I'm cranking down straps. I'm trying to get the shoe tighter constantly, but it's been a really surprise to make this work. So yeah, this one is a little bit stiffer. We did the fly knit on that one. This one is a slightly different last as well. So it's more towards low volume, I would say. So it should fit everybody as well. It's kind of the same concept in the two slippers, was trying to make a last that would work. We actually have shaped like 10 new lasts. It's really crazy. So we're tracking constantly, we're printing in the office, we're patterning the shoes on different lasts, we're testing on different lasts. So it's been like a huge process. And we'll send these same two shoes to whether it's like Levi in Indianapolis, or my friend Brian Capps, Unknown Crusher in Missouri, or Fred or Jay or Luis in Mexico. So we'll pattern the shoes on different lasts, we'll send them out, we'll get all the feedback, we'll make final decisions, and then we'll eventually land on the production side of things. For something I wasn't super excited about, like the two slippers have been really, really incredible to build. Yeah, so the shoes are all brand new. We have Stay in Street. They'll be here. They'll actually be on REI's website in the next 2 weeks. And then those will have a direct-to-consumer launch and a other retail launch in 2 months. And then the Stay LV and Street LV, those will be here in November. And then Rome and Torque will be here in November as well. Because we had to build the brand direct-to-consumer before gyms and retailers really understood what we were doing, we're able to order product, get it in, and release it into the market. So we're not reliant on a big order from a major distributor or something like that to get a product made. A lot of shoe brands will show tons and tons of shoes. If they don't get orders for those shoes, then they don't order the shoes, but we're different. Everything we design, we want to bring into production. So we've been able to do that. So they're kind of launching almost every month between now and spring of next year. And then once we have all the new models out, then we'll go to more of a spring and fall, traditional sales schedule, I guess you'd say. I got a weird email out of the blue from a friend of mine who actually works at Salomon in Europe, and he said, hey, we're wanting to build a climbing shoe for Paris Fashion Week with Boris, who's like a streetwear designer who works with them. And I was like, okay, let's try. So we got a hold of Fred quickly. Fred actually met up with them in Europe. He had some really cool like asymmetrical lace ideas with the Salomon technology. And Fred worked with Boris, and they created this concept shoe. So this was shown at Paris Fashion Week. They had a bouldering wall set up. At first I thought the models were gonna be wearing it like on the runway. That didn't happen, but that would have been fun. But yeah, we built the shoe in a size 9, so only certain people got to try it at the show, but people were like bouldering the shoe. And Boris is a climber, so like he understands, he's been a climber for a long time, so watching him and Fred work together and take his like design streetwear aesthetic into a climbing shoe was very cool. It's very slightly downturn. It's got the Solomon technology. So this is all patented by them, the speed closure, which then tucks into this little flap on the tongue. It also has the elastic band on the inside. So the elastic band really hugs your foot super well. It's moderately stiff, so it's been okay for the beginners, but also intermediate and advanced. They wanted something that would meet with everybody. But it was pretty cool. Like I was on Zoom calls with the head of footwear from Solomon, and they're calling us, 10-person team in St. Louis, Missouri, and asking for our help. And I just thought, what's happening? This is backwards. So there's no release date scheduled for this shoe yet. We're just doing small batch production. We're giving it to athletes and things like that. But we think in the next year we'll have it out and a shoe that everybody can get. Even though we're making like very advanced shoes for the top athletes with Fred and Jay, I don't think the industry has done a good job at helping a intermediate or a beginner climber walk through that process. So we have a lot of really cool ideas and criteria on our site that we're building out now, our new website, where it's going to be like, do you climb indoor? Do you climb outdoor? It's a path, it's a trail. So that trail, however you answer those questions, are going to take you to the type of shoe that you want. We've kind of become a retailer on our site, so we're carrying like Friction Labs chalk along with our own. We're carrying tension products along with our own training products. So we'll be carrying other brands' footwear as well. We have a lot of friends in the industry, so as you shop SoiLL, you're also going to be able to compare those models to the other models of other brands, which is pretty cool. So we'll be able to separate it by designer. If you like a certain designer, you'll be able to separate it by like beginner, intermediate, advanced, pro. You'll be able to set it for the type of climbing that you do. So we're getting pretty particular, so we'll assign all those attributes to each shoe. The website then, when ready, will help you drive to the right shoe that you need. We heard a story about when Yeezy was starting, that Kanye was in a meeting, and whatever you feel like with Kanye, but when they designed that brand, they had like 20 climbing shoes out from every brand, and they were inspired by climbing shoes, which is just totally crazy. So it makes sense that climbing's being pulled like into fashion. It's really kind of an interesting thing. Because when we were kids, climbing wasn't cool. Like all of a sudden being outside is cool. So it's kind of come full circle, I guess.